Hello Algebra 2 students, here's our video on operations with polynomials. Okay, so when we say operations with polynomials, we're talking add, subtract, multiply, and divide. You shouldn't be too overly concerned about the add, subtract, and multiply because we already know how to do all that. This is the unknown. This is the exciting one. This is the one that we actually have to learn, which is dividing polynomials. So we'll do real quick. We'll talk about the other operations, but primarily this video is going to be about dividing polynomials. Okay, you can add polynomials horizontally. You can add them vertically. Either way, you've got the same problem here. You're combining like terms. Okay, so combining like terms in this case, 7x squared plus 6x minus 7x is going to be minus 1x. Minus 3 and minus 9 comes out to minus 12. And that's the same answer whether I find it vertically or horizontally. For division, you just have to remember for subtraction, you just have to remember what happens when you subtract. You change it to adding, and then you switch the sign of each of those numbers. Now it's just the same thing as the previous slide with the adding. So we change it to adding the opposite. So we end up with 9x squared minus 9x and then plus 1. Okay? Multiplication. Multiplication. We know for this we're going to FOIL. Careful, Peach. She had a failed attempt to hop up on the couch. You can hear her little claws scraping against the side of the couch. So first, outer, inner, and last, and combining the like terms in the center. Now with the binomial times trinomial, I think that one way to see this that we didn't talk about or that we didn't see in class the other day, we did talk about it briefly, would be to write it using the distributive property. And then you can multiply through, and the same thing, and then you can combine your like terms. So we end up with x cubed plus 4x squared minus 7x plus 2x squared plus 8x minus 14. Combine the like terms, you're going to end up with x cubed plus 6x squared minus 6x plus 8x plus 1x, and then minus 14 on the end. Alright, so add, subtract, multiply. No big deal. Let's take a look at divide. Okay, dividing a polynomial by a monomial. In this problem, what we're going to do is actually separate this all the way out. So this doesn't end up being long division at all, more of an example of repeated division. If we have this sum over 2x, that means we can go ahead and separate it apart and divide each one individually. So this one is, 5 halves x to the, this is the 5th power up here, 5 halves x to the 4th plus 6 over 2, 3x squared minus, this one would be 10 over x. So we end up with 3 divisions, and you have 5 halves x to the 4th plus 3x squared minus 10 over x. It's different, and all you had to do there was divide. Long division is a little bit more complicated. Let's do a long division example. Like this. Let's do a long division example. All right. So with long division, you do end up putting, using your old division bracket. So you're going to put the dividend, which is the number being divided, in a regular division problem, in this case, this polynomial. Dividend goes inside the division bracket, and then your divisor goes outside. And what we're going to do is repeated division and multiplication. Okay, real quick, let me separate this out. Let me remind you what it means to long divide. And let's do a simple little problem. Let's do 295 divided by, let's do 3. 3 doesn't go into 29, but 3 didn't go into 2, excuse me, but 3 does go into 29 9 times. And we multiply. 9 times 5, 27. And then we subtract. 3 goes into 25 8 times. And we multiply. 8 times 3, 24. Then we subtract. And way back when you were taught to use this 1 as a remainder. So we end up with 98 and 1 out of 3, which is our divisor, so 1/3, 98 and a third. Okay, so with long division, it's divide, multiply, subtract. Divide, multiply, subtract. That's what we're going to do. So start with this. How many times does x go into x cubed? So in other words, off to the side, off in my margin, I'm dividing x cubed divided by x. Okay, well what do we get? We get x squared when we divide that. So I'm going to put that above the x cubed. Now I'm going to multiply that x squared through the divisor. So x squared times x plus 5. X squared times x is x cubed. Line it up underneath the x cubed. But you got to also multiply x squared times 5x. Okay, so that gives us, that's like over here, that's like this 9 times 3, 27. Now I have to subtract. So I put parentheses around it, and I subtract straight down. X cubed minus x cubed cancels. 2x squared minus 5x squared is negative 3x squared. And then we're going to bring down, just like I did here. I subtracted, and then I brought down the 5. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to bring down the minus 25x. Now we look at how many times x goes into minus 3x squared. I'm just going to go in minus 3x times. So that would be the minus 3x squared over x, and that gives you minus 3x. Now multiply it through. Minus 3x multiplied through the x plus 5. It's going to be minus 3x squared minus 15x. Put it in parentheses, subtract. Minus 3x squared minus a minus 3x squared cancels, okay, just like the x cubed canceled. Minus 25, minus 25, got sleepy. Minus 25 minus a minus 15 is really plus 15, is negative 10x. And again, x into minus 10x. It's going to go minus 10 times. Multiply it through. Minus 10 multiplied through x plus 5 gives me minus 10x. I forgot to bring down my minus 50. Minus 10 times plus 5 is minus 50 when I multiply it through, and that works out quite nicely. So we end up with a remainder of 0. So what is that quotient? It's x squared minus 3x minus 10. Oh, that got messy. Let's try that again. Sorry about that. So the quotient of these two polynomials here at the top of the page comes out to be x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay, we're going to look at a couple more examples. Alright, here's the next one. This one doesn't divide so happily and evenly. So let's go ahead and actually jump in and do the division. Put your dividend, inside the division, and your divisor over here outside. So 2x, how many times does that go into 4x squared? It goes in 2x times. In other words, 4x squared divided by 2x, which comes out to be 2x. Multiply it through, we get 4x squared. 2x times minus 1 minus 2x. And then subtract down. 6 minus a minus 2 comes out to be 8x. Bring down to plus 1. 2x into 8x goes in positive 4 times. Multiply through. 4 times 2x, 8x. 4 times minus 1, minus 4. Subtract. 8x's cancel. 1 minus minus 4 is positive 5. Now, 2x doesn't go into 5. So this is our remainder. And in some textbooks, they'll give the solution as, or the quotient as 2x plus 4, comma, remainder, and they'll tell you the remainder. What we're going to do is, just like we did on the previous screen, we're going to write that remainder as a fraction. And again, the denominator of the fraction is the the divisor of the problem that we are actually doing. So we have 2x plus 4 plus this remainder 5 over 2x minus 1. So that becomes your answer. Good. Next one. Okay, this is the last one for the video. Last one. So this time your dividend is x to the 4th minus 81, but we have a problem. We're missing all the terms in between x to the 4th and the minus 81. So we need to write this polynomial in standard form. So what you end up having to do is you have to write it with, so we have to write it using standard form. So what we're going to do, hold on. So we're going to write it, so we have x to the 4th. So what you do is you write plus 0x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x and then minus 81. So you need to save the spot for all of those terms we don't actually have. It's kind of like the zeros in 10,002 holding the spaces in between the 1 and the 2. Okay, so same as before. So x to the 4th over x, that's going to give me x to the 3rd. Multiply x to the 3rd through your divisor. X to the 4th minus 3x squared. Cubed. Take that, subtract. X to the 4th minus x to the 4th cancels. Minus the minus 3x squared becomes positive 3x, cubed. It's the second time I've said that. 3x cubed. Bring down your 0x squared. All right, 3x cubed divided by x is going to leave me 3x squared. Multiply, cat's now playing with cat toys. You're going to get to hear the obnoxious cat toy. 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. 3x squared times minus 3 is minus 9x squared. Put the parentheses, subtract, cancels. Minus a minus 9x squared is 9x squared. All right, 9x squared divided by x, leaving me 9x. So plus 9x. Multiply through. Oh, forgot to bring down my 0x. Multiply the 9x through the divisor. 9x squared minus 27x. Parentheses, subtract, cancels. Minus 27, positive 27. Bring down my minus 81. X into 27, x into 27x, so 27x divided by x. X's are going to cancel there, so positive 27. 27 times x, 27x. 27 times minus 3, minus 81. Oh, how convenient. So this one cancels out nicely, no remainder. And you end up with x cubed plus 3x squared plus 9x plus 27. This is going to come in handy when we're solving polynomials. So I'm really looking forward to practicing this in class. We're going to call it quits. Hopefully this video is not too terribly long. And I will see you guys in class.